Love is the greatest exchange currency that you can have, because it can buy anything and everything. Money and power can buy you only some things. Love conquers all. Well, I was born in a family of 8 siblings. I lost my father when I was only 6 years old. There was a void within me, the longing for a father's love that I tried to seek and search in the things of the world. I fell in love when I was only 15 years, stayed in love for 11 years, and married the man of my dreams. Everything was fine with us till 5 months later, I was diagnosed with an ovarian cyst. I was operated for that, and after that came the complications. I had surgery after surgery. 5 years passed, and I lost the function of my fallopian tubes, and the doctors concluded that I could not have children biologically. I was broken inside, but I resorted to what the world could offer me. I went in for artificial insemination 4 times. It all failed. I went in for IVF. That too failed. I was broken inside, but then I said, I need to bring some meaning into my life. Being a singer, being a musician, I started using my God-given talent to put like-minded musicians and singers together. And we formed a band. We formed a gospel band. We formed a choir. We started singing and raising funds. And I started visiting the government hospitals in Mangalore. And I saw so many people suffering and in such a bad condition. All I wanted to do was forget about myself and reach out to them and show them that I am there for them. The sight of the people lying in the paraplegic ward for years together who haven't walked. There was this man, I remember, who said, young man lying for more than 5 years there on the bed, and he told me, I feel very bad when I see people walking about and busy when I cannot move. I don't know if I will ever walk again. So I started doing some small little things out of love for these people. And I went in for a pregnancy test a few months later. And then I got a positive report. I ran to my doctor, showed him the report. He said, you, impossible. How can you conceive? Don't tell anybody. You come back in 2 months and I will scan and see. And yes, if there is a baby, then you can tell. 2 months later, when I went to the doctor and he scanned me, he literally fell off the chair. And he said, there is a baby. What did you do? And that was the time for me to tell him what is impossible for man is possible for God. I was blessed with a beautiful baby girl who is 26 years now. And she's the reason for me to go all out to show that love can conquer everything, even our brokenness and everything. So as I was going about doing this thing, I saw so much of pain and suffering on the streets. I found people in the dustbins. I found people abandoned, maggot-infested wounds. So much of pain and suffering. And there was no place for them. So I registered under an NGO, as an NGO, took a license from the district administration for psychiatric nursing because everyone on the street has psychiatric problems. Started picking up these people one by one, bringing them into the home, giving them a lot of love, giving them food, grooming them. And I was thinking of this, that to have a place to go is a blessing. To have someone to love you is a family. And there are so many without either or both. And I was determined to make that difference, to be there for them, for these destitute, the least, the last, and the lost of our society. So picking one by one, we happened to pick up over 600 people from the street and rehabilitate them. With just a little love and care, I saw great transformation in their lives. People who were with maggot-infested wounds, matted hair, they don't even know who they are and from where they have come. gradually recall who they are, and there's so much of transformation. So with this, we were able to reach back over 300 plus destitute to their homes all over India and even Nepal. This lady is from Nepal, and she was found naked on our roads and brought in by the police. 6 months later, she was badly injured. We found her family in Nepal, and they were reunited. We have many, many cases. This is a woman who dressed up like a man and lost her mind and just walked out of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and she reached Mangalore and found by the police and once again brought. 12 years later, we were able to locate her family and reach her back. Just yesterday, we were able to reunite a mother who lost her mind and walked out of her home in Tamil Nadu 14 years ago when her 3 tiny children were left abandoned there. The father died within a year and the children were orphaned. Yesterday, we were able to find the family and reunite them and send them back to Tamil Nadu. So as this work was going on, I saw so much of hunger on the streets. When we eat good food, how can our brothers and sisters who live rough on the road eat garbage, eat chicken waste from the chicken stalls? I've seen people eating paper to satisfy their hunger. I made up my mind. I need to give them a good meal. So every day we started cooking one good, nutritious hot meal and started taking it to the streets. What we began 20 years ago, feeding 20 people, today we feed almost 150 to 200 every day on the streets. And I experience so much of love from them. I don't know who they are, but sometimes they see me on the streets and they come and greet me and I feel so blessed. So this work too was going on. We opened a home for the children, started taking care of children, educating them and grooming them. Their all-round development was taken care by us. And I was in for a rude shock suddenly as I was doing this work when I was diagnosed with 3rd stage breast cancer. But I battled cancer boldly because I was not afraid of death. I faced the sickness, went through a 10.5-hour surgery that was followed by 6 rounds of strong chemo called TAC and then 5 weeks of radiation. And everything went on smoothly till I had to get the second blow. As I was coming to the end of the radiation, I was diagnosed with acute hepatitis B. I started throwing up blood. My liver enzymes shot up to 5,100. And the doctor said I was gone on April 4th, 2010 because my liver was completely dead. But all these people started praying for me and started wanting me back. I did not know what happened to me because I was in a coma. When everybody had given up on me, the love of these people literally brought me back to life. 8 days in a coma. I got up on the 8th day and I asked the doctor, when I got up, I had tubes in my nose, stent in my neck, stent in my groin. And I asked the doctor, who put me or what happened to me? And then he said, you went the other side and came. Well, I did not think about my family at that time. All I could think was about my extended family. I said, because we had 2 homes, we had 140 destitute under our care. And if anything happened to me, probably these people had to go back to the streets. So I was able to get a plot of land in the city donated for this purpose. And today we have a beautiful, one of its kind, state-of-the-art home for these destitute. They can call it their own. We have a 200-bed psychiatric nursing home for these destitute. Well, I see so much of transformation I experience. That's why I said the exchange of love. I experience so much of love from these destitute. I just want to touch on one thing. People misunderstand these psychiatric people on the streets. I have seen people being stoned. There was an elderly man who was a professor who lost his mind, who was dressed up in a nightdress. And people were stoning him, not knowing what he was doing. We picked him up, rehabilitated him, united him back with the family. I want to tell you that antisocial elements do not spare even handicapped women on the streets. There was this woman who couldn't even walk, but she was raped and she literally died giving birth to her son. She's no more now. Likewise, there was another case of a young man who was robbed on the trains, put on another train. He was from UP, he landed up in Mangalore, and since they lose their mind, they cannot reply to your questions, then people misunderstand that he's a thief, and then they beat him up, and then we rescued him and put him in hospital. He recovered, and we were able to unite the father and the son. So, if we give love, we will get love back in return. Nobody is useless. Nobody is worthless. So each one of us can make that difference in the lives of others. Each one reach out to one, and you and I can make this world a better place. Thank you.